Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party has made its way back to Magic Kingdom, and this is an event that is packed with so many fun and exciting things to do. And if you're thinking of going to the event this year, you definitely will want to make the most of your time whenever you are going, and to do that, you definitely will want to plan ahead of time. And with that, I want to share with you 10 tips that'll help you have the best time at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So let's get on into these tips. First tip I want to share with you is to definitely pick up a map before you go into the actual event. This is similar to the Epcot festival passports that you can get for the festival that lines out all of the offerings that you can find at the festival. This park map is going to share everything that there is to see and do at the actual party. And the nice thing is, of course, there's a map where you can find all of the offerings at the actual party, and there also is an event lineup inside of the map where you can see where all of the times and things will be happening for that evening. So this is a great way to keep you on track and to know what and when things are happening. There are lots of cast members around to help assist you whenever you're getting into Magic Kingdom for the party, and most likely they will hand out one to you whenever you are actually going to get your trick or treat bag for the evening. But just to make sure, I recommend definitely picking up a map so that way you know what's happening and when it's happening for the party. Second thing I recommend to you is to definitely wear lightweight costumes. One of the most popular things to do when you are at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is to actually dress up in a costume for the actual event. Of course, we know that Disney World is in Florida, and even though the event takes place in the evening, most likely it's still going to be very hot and humid whenever you are actually at the event, so having a nice lightweight costume is very nice to keep you comfortable through your evening. Not to mention, it has been very rainy in Florida during this fall season, and so if your costume gets wet, you definitely won't want to be wearing that for the rest of the evening. So it's nice if you're able to wear something that's lightweight, that can dry very easily, and is very breathable to keep you comfortable during your time. Third thing I recommend is to get to the park early. Now, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party officially happens from 7 p.m. to midnight, but with your ticket, you can actually get in as early as 4 p.m. to Magic Kingdom. Now, I highly recommend this because this allows you to really maximize your time in Magic Kingdom, but it also allows you to be in the park and ready to go for when the event actually starts. Now, I will say, if you decide to do this, you will not be the only one that's trying to get into the park early. There will most likely be a huge crowd waiting at the gates around 4 p.m. to actually get into Magic Kingdom, so I definitely recommend being hydrated during this time. Most likely you'll be standing in direct sunlight depending on whenever you're going and what the weather is looking like. Take care of yourself during that time. Whenever I was waiting in line to get into the park around 4 p.m., there definitely were some guests that were passing out because it was so hot, so definitely stay hydrated so that way you can enjoy the rest of your evening at the party. It's also important to note too, if you happen to be in Magic Kingdom on the day that you were actually going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, there are separate wristband stations placed around Magic Kingdom where you can go and pick up your wristband for the evening, so that way you don't even have to leave Magic Kingdom and you can already be in the park ready to go for the party. Fourth tip I have is to ride rides before the party starts. Now, from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m., that's a whole 3 hours that you have to really experience Magic Kingdom to the fullest before the party starts and all of the festivities come along with that. I recommend going ahead and taking advantage of some rides so that way you can get rides in, maximize your time at Magic Kingdom, and then make sure that you are able to experience all that you want during the party time. But with that being said, there are some rides that maybe you want to skip whenever it comes to this time period, because there are some rides at Magic Kingdom that get a special Halloween twist for the actual Halloween party that you definitely will want to experience whenever you are at the party. These rides are Pirates of the Caribbean. There are live pirates not only inside of the queue, but inside the ride itself. The Haunted Mansion has some live ghosts waiting in the queue, interacting with you while you're waiting to get onto the ride. Teacups also gets a Halloween overlay where there are some Halloween lights and some smoke effect. And Space Mountain gets transformed into Deep Space Mountain, where it is completely pitch black. There is some Halloween music playing, and so these are some rides that maybe you want to skip to actually experience during the party, so that way you can see that Halloween twist. Another thing that might be nice to do before the party actually starts at 7 p.m., from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., maybe consider getting some dinner or something to eat before the party starts. That way you don't have to waste time whenever you are actually at the party. Get a bite to eat during that time, so that way you can maximize your time at the party. Now for the fifth tip, let's talk about what to do whenever the actual party officially starts. So the party officially starts at 7 p.m. There are definitely some things that you can do during this time to maximize your time at the party. As far as events go at the actual party, there's some shows and parades that happen, and the very first festivity that happens at the party occurs at 8:35 p.m. This is one of the Hocus Pocus shows that happens in front of Cinderella Castle, and so what you can do before the show actually starts is actually take advantage of some of those Halloween twist rides that are around the park. You can take advantage of some character meet and greets. I don't recommend really doing trick-or-treating during this time because a lot of people are going to be doing this. I recommend saving trick-or-treating for the evening whenever there are not a lot of people left at night, and usually cast members give out a lot more candy during this time, so that's really good to save in the evening whenever you're getting ready to leave. But also, if you want to take advantage of the PhotoPass spots that are around the park, definitely do that during this time, and also trying out some of the Halloween treats that might be at the party. This is a great time to do that before some of the festivities start to kick in, because once the shows and parades start, the evening definitely starts to kind of roll along, and it can start to get pretty busy and things can get a little hectic and the evening can get away from you. So during this time from around 7 to 8:35 when the Hocus Pocus show starts, definitely consider doing some of these things to maximize your time. Now for the sixth thing here, let's talk about what to do for the actual festivities that happen at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Now for the night that we went to the party, there was a terrible thunderstorm that happened at the beginning of the night, which definitely made our evening start not in a way that we were expecting. Honestly, we were skeptical if any of the events were going to actually kick off during the Halloween party. So if you're experiencing any crazy weather, or if there's any weather forecasted during the time that you were at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I definitely recommend taking a look at this schedule of events for that evening. And if you're able to catch maybe one of the first showings for any of the festivities, if you are wanting to check those out, whether it's the Boo to You parade or the Hocus Pocus show, I definitely recommend checking out the first showings, so that way you can make sure that you see at least one of them in case they decide to cancel them or delay them later on in the evening. For us, they did a shortened version of the Hocus Pocus show at the beginning of the evening. The very first showing was a little bit shortened, but later on in the evening when the weather started to clear up, we were able to see the full show. So just to be safe, I recommend seeing the first showing of the events just to make sure that you actually see it in case they cancel them. But the nice thing is there are a lot of showings of these events, and so if you don't necessarily catch the first one or even the second one, there usually are some other ones to follow. Schedule really does a great job of kind of laying out your evening where you can see one of the Hocus Pocus shows and then get ready to do the Boo to You parade, and then the fireworks happen. But it's important to note that there's only one showing of the fireworks, so if you really want to see them, you definitely will want to check them out at the only showing that they have. Now for the parade and for the fireworks, these are two of the events that I highly recommend securing a spot for ahead of time, so that way you get a good viewpoint to actually see the festivities. Along the parade route and definitely in front of the castle, there will be a lot of people crowded around to see these events happening. And so if you're wanting to check them out for yourself, I definitely recommend securing a spot. If it looks like people are starting to crowd or get in line to see some of these things, I definitely recommend doing so yourself, so that way you can secure a good spot. We were able to check out the Boo to You parade in Frontierland, and we really enjoyed watching it there because we were able to get a good spot. And even if you are watching it in Frontierland, you might be able to even scurry on over to Main Street to see the rest of the parade happen because of how the parade route goes. We actually followed the end of the Boo to You parade right into the front of Cinderella Castle, so that way we could see the fireworks happen, and we had an amazing view of Jack Skellington whenever he comes out for the fireworks. So that's another thing that I recommend. If you are wanting to see the fireworks, definitely think about ahead of time where you would want to watch them from. If you don't really care about seeing Jack Skellington, you might not mind being farther away from the fireworks or from Cinderella Castle. But if you really want to see Jack Skellington, I do recommend being very close to the castle, so that way you have a good view of him. Also, whenever it comes to the parade, it's also good to note that the Headless Horseman rides 10 minutes before the parade actually happens. So if you are wanting to see the Headless Horseman, only keep this in mind so that way you can make sure that you see him. And if you also want to see Max in his Powerline costume, he comes out before the parade actually happens at the entrance of Main Street with a little dance party, so if you're wanting to see him as well, definitely make sure that you check that out at the entrance of Magic Kingdom. 7th tip that I have for you here is to save shopping for the end of the evening. Another really popular thing that people like to get at the actual event is some event exclusive merchandise. But let me tell you, lines get crazy long to purchase this merchandise in the Emporium, and that definitely can eat up some time in the actual event time that you have whenever you are at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So unless you are actually wanting to wear the merchandise during the party whenever you are there, I recommend saving shopping for the end of the evening whenever the party is either ending or whenever it has actually ended, so that way you can maximize your time at the party, and there will definitely be merch left over and available for you. They had so much merchandise at the Halloween party. There was definitely stuff available afterwards whenever it was happening, so don't waste your time necessarily if you are all right not having it during the party, and save that for the evening. The 8th tip I have for you is to check out the Monsters Inc. dance party that happens in Tomorrowland. Now last year when I went to Boo Bash, I checked out some of the dance parties that were happening at the event, and I wasn't too thrilled with what I was seeing. I was really thinking that maybe they were more for kids, but when it came to the Tomorrowland dance party with the Monsters Inc. crew, this was a very, very fun event, and I definitely had a lot more fun than I was expecting, and I was also there for a lot longer than I was expecting. It probably had a lot to do with the DJ that was there. The DJ was very interactive and really engaged the crowd, but also they have different Monsters Inc. characters that rotate frequently and are always out whenever you're at the dance party. There's Mike Wazowski, Sully came out, and also George, which you don't usually see whenever you are at the Disney park. So this was really fun, not only if you have kids, but also if you're an adult. I really enjoyed dancing to some of the songs. They did the Cupid Shuffle, they did the chicken dance, so it was a really fun thing to do that is kind of neat to do in the Disney parks. So I definitely recommend checking it out. If you aren't really into dancing, at least go and check out the characters because they are really fun to see. 9th thing I recommend is to take advantage of some of the PhotoPass spots around the park. Now, if you have the PhotoPass system whenever you are going to Magic Kingdom, I definitely recommend taking advantage of this because there are some special magic shots that you can get around Magic Kingdom. There's a special Headless Horseman magic shot, there are some hitchhiking ghost magic shots, and there's a lot of other ones that are placed around Magic Kingdom, and these are just a fun way to remember your experience by, but I also personally love the magic shots and seeing, once you get done taking the photos, what magic shot it actually is. So definitely take advantage of this if you already have the PhotoPass system or if you are thinking of getting it whenever going to the parks. And the 10th tip here is probably one of the most important ones, and that is to plan out your evening ahead of time. Now, as I said before, the evening can definitely start to get away from you whenever the party actually starts. Once the parade gets going, the shows happen, the evening can start to get going and can definitely get away from you, and you're going to want to make sure that you are seeing everything and doing everything that you want whenever you are at the party. A lot of these things are actually event exclusive things that you don't typically see day to day at Magic Kingdom, and so you aren't going to want to miss it because you paid specifically to go to this event. As we've seen, there's just a lot of things to see and do whenever you are at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. There's treats to try, there's different characters that are out that you don't typically see, there's events that are happening, and so a really good thing to do is definitely plan ahead of time with what you are wanting to do when you were at the parks. For myself, I knew I really wanted to see the Boo to You parade, and I really wanted to see the fireworks as well. So I definitely planned my evening around those festivities, but it may be different for you. Maybe you're going with kids and the dance parties would be more fun, or you really want to see the Halloween twist that happens on the ride. Definitely do some research before you're going to the event so that way you can maximize your time and do everything that you want whenever you're at the party. A really fun thing about the Halloween party is that it brings Halloween to Magic Kingdom itself. And if you've never seen Halloween at Magic Kingdom, it definitely gives the park a different atmosphere and different look that you haven't seen before. So if you want to check that out before you're actually going to the party, here are all the things that you can expect to see at Magic Kingdom during Halloween. I hope you found these tips helpful. Have an amazing time at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Let me know if you have any questions below, and we'll see you in the next video. See you guys!